Hey guys, it's your average middle-aged American back again with another reaction video. Today we're going to Scotland. Yay! I have Scottish ancestors, mostly Scottish ancestors, and German ancestors. I got my Diet Coke. I just ate my oatmeal cream pie. It's a little snack, in case you didn't know. And I'm ready to check out Scotland. This is coming from Ryan Shirley. Makes amazing videos, great photography, great videography. And we're going to check it out, see what's going on in Scotland. My parents have been to Scotland. I have not. They actually researched where some of my ancestors lived and visited where they lived. So that's interesting. And my wife and I will get to Scotland. Don't know when yet, but it is on part of our first phase tour of Europe. If you're wondering why I talk so slowly, part of it is because I don't use a script. Part of it is because most of my subscribers are European and English is not their first language. And part of it is just because I'm slow. Anyway, I want to thank all my subscribers. You guys are just wonderful, really helping me get to the goal. We are 2/3 to the way to 1,000 subscribers. We're on our about 4th month, I think, since we started this channel. Probably headed towards our 5th month, maybe. And we're growing fast enough. I didn't want to grow too fast, and I didn't want to grow too slow, and I think it's been working out great. It allows me to still read every comment, reply to many, and have some great conversations in our comment sections. We can all learn from each other. I learn something every day, and I can't thank my subscribers enough. And even those that don't subscribe, just coming by and dropping some comments, having a conversation. Even if I never see you again, thanks for the information. I learned something, and hope you change your mind, come back and subscribe. All right, enough jibber jabber. Let's get to this thing. I haven't seen it, so we'll see it together and go from there.
What's up, guys? My name is Ryan, and last summer I did a road trip around Scotland, and I want to show you my favorite places.
All right, so if you haven't seen any of his videos, first of all, you need to go to his channel and check him out. He's got a ton of videos all over the world. Very adventurous guy, very athletic. He is basically what I was last year. Anyway, he always does this. He climbs up on these cliffs, and I pray to God that he never gets seriously hurt, but he is always cliff diving. He's always climbing up the side of mountains, whatever. He'll just run right on the edge of a mountain with like a 200-meter drop on the other side. Anyway, that's him. So, but the photography and the videography it's mind-blowing. I really don't know how he does it. I'm assuming a lot of drones. And anyway, it just, every time I see him do this, it scares me a little bit. Listen, I'm just an average middle-aged American. This stuff frightens me.
So here's my Scotland top 10. If you want to go back in time and feel like you're in a fairy tale, Scotland is the place for you. It's easy to see why so many legends and popular books such as Harry Potter have been born here. It's truly one of the world's most enchanted places. So for our first location, we're going to visit the Old Man of Storr. Now, the Old Man of Storr is located on the Isle of Skye, which is about a 5-hour drive from Edinburgh. It's one of my all-time favorite rock formations. I felt like I was on the set of Game of Thrones. When you drive to the store, you can see it in the distance, and it gets you like so pumped. It's just such a cool rock formation. Now, to hike to the Old Man of Storr, it's about a 4-kilometer walk. You'll go through some conservation gates, and you'll reach the infamous rock pinnacles I went there for sunrise and sunset, and both occasions were absolutely breathtaking. When I was there, crows were flying around the rocks, and there was just some sheep running around. I mean, it was so magical. The legend of the Old Man Store is supposedly a giant lived there a long time ago, and when he was buried, his thumb was left sticking out of the ground, creating the mystical rock formations. When you go there, it's easy to see why it's one of the world's most iconic rock formations. I have to say this is one of my all-time favorite places, and I recommend everyone to see it at least once in their life. Just a few minutes away.
That sign literally means nothing to him. He probably did like a somersault over the top of it. That's a beautiful place. I'm assuming this is all like national park kind of stuff. If you know, let me know. Trademarked. The beauty is, I mean, it's just, it's hard to explain. I mean, I don't know how much of this is, you know, has been filtered and saturated, you know, in Photoshop or editing software, that kind of thing. I don't know if the grass is really that green. Obviously I haven't been there. If you guys know, let me know. And is this year round? Does it look like this, or does it, you know, ice over and all that, kill all the grass? And also, what's the weather like? I really don't know a lot about Scotland. I'm embarrassed, honestly, how little I know. I could have done an hour's worth of research, come on here acting like I knew everything about Scotland. I don't know anything about Scotland. Anything more than the average middle-aged American would know. Do you get a lot of rain like we always hear about in the UK? And if so, does that make all of this like super slippery? Because this looks like the kind of grass that would be really almost like moss or something, like super slippery when it's, you know, dew point and that kind of thing. So let me know. I'm just curious how dangerous this tranquil little place is.
Just a few minutes away from the
Wow.
Old Man Store, there's a breathtaking waterfall called the AMAA Falls that cascades down into the ocean. There's also a nice viewpoint where you can get a great view of the waterfall. There's also just beautiful sea cliffs in the area. One of the most famous is Kilt Rock, which...
I'm not going to try to interrupt every 5 seconds, but I don't think until I started this channel I've ever seen a waterfall that didn't fall into water. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to Niagara Falls and, you know, I've seen waterfalls, but they're all, you know, this isn't the first one. There's, in California, they have them too, where the water just falls onto land. Now, I guess it depends on the tide, you know, high tide, low tide kind of thing. And here it's all falling on rocks. It's really cool. It's almost like a, you know, a man-made fountain or something would be. Obviously quite a bit nicer before you start typing. But I'm just saying, when you think of a waterfall, when I think of a waterfall, I think of it falling into water.
Which looks like a kilt that descends down to the ocean. All the east side of the Isle of Skye, there's just such beautiful coastline there. So after, we're going to head over to another one of Scotland's most iconic locations, to the Glenfinnan Viaduct. So it's located at the top of Loch Shiel in the West Highlands of Scotland. It was completed around 1898. So it may look familiar because it was featured in Harry Potter. You'll see the train going there when it's heading to Hogwarts. So when I was there, I wanted to get a close-up to the bridge, so I walked underneath it, and I was just shook by how big it really was. I mean, those arches are just massive. So after, I hiked to a good vantage point where I could see the famous train go across the viaduct. I mean, it is just such a magical place. The backdrop of Loch Shiel is absolutely stunning, and definitely recommend visiting there. Alright, so after Glenfinnan, we're going to head over to Edinburgh. Now, if you want to go back in time, Edinburgh is a must. Edinburgh is the place where J.K. Rowling was when she wrote Harry Potter. So when you're going to go there, you're going to get all sorts of magical inspiration. When I first started solo traveling, Edinburgh was one of the first places I've ever went to. It's this medieval old town with intricate neoclassical buildings, cobblestone streets, and beautiful gardens. The iconic Edinburgh Castle overlooks the city and is home to Scotland's crown jewels. When I was there, I didn't go in the castle because it was so crowded and I didn't really feel like spending money. Kind of regret it.
All right, speaking of crowds, when's the best time to go for a tourist who hates cold weather? Let me know. I know you guys know, so just let me know. I'm in a weird mood. I didn't sleep much last night, in case anybody cares. Went to bed about 1 a.m. Got up about 5 a.m. So, a little loopy. A little loopy. If you're from Scotland, let me know. Let me know the 5 places, only 5, that a tourist must see when they're in Scotland. And it doesn't have to be at the tourist traps. It can be off the beaten path. But if you had a friend coming in who had never been to Scotland, and they could only go to 5 places, it was in their contract for travel, what 5 places would it be in Scotland? I don't know what we're doing. I don't know. I don't know if we're renting a car. What's public transportation like? I'll be doing other Scottish videos, but just curious. Public transportation, best way to get around, best time to go, you know, all the typical tourist stuff. I love castles.
But definitely recommend go checking that out. One of my favorite places in Edinburgh is Calton Hill. It's just a short walk from the castle and it offers a beautiful view of the city. They have this really cool national monument there, these really cool pillars. All right, so while we're still in Edinburgh, we're gonna head over to Arthur's Seat. Now, Arthur's Seat is located in Holyrood Park and is just a short walk from Edinburgh Center. Now, Arthur's Seat is an extinct volcano that has an elevation of 823 feet. When I was there, I just saw Arthur's Seat from the distance and I was like, okay, I want to hike it because I want.
Those are tennis courts, I assume. I played tennis a lot when I was growing up. I guess it's just new and old tennis courts. I was trying to see if that was a different sport. But it looks the same. It looks like maybe just new or freshly painted and not. Is tennis big over there? Tennis big in Scotland? Played a lot of tennis when I was growing up. I love tennis. I'd love to play now. Well, God knows if I fell. Whew. And with America's healthcare system, there's no telling what would happen to me. This is going to be one of my most controversial videos ever. Oh, I'm expecting a thumbs up, by the way. I don't need the negativity. I got enough negativity in my life. Let me know. Tennis big in Scotland? Or is it just this particular area?
Seat from the distance and I was like, okay, I want to hike it because I wanted to get a view of all of Edinburgh. Wow. So anyways, I made the hike up. You'll walk around Holyrood Park, take the short little hike up there. When I was there, it was so windy. I couldn't believe how windy it was. It nearly blew me over. After I hiked to the top, I went down and walked around Holyrood Park and just enjoyed the views of Edinburgh. Just such a beautiful city. So after Edinburgh, we're gonna head back over to the west side of Scotland to visit the Eilean Donan Castle. Hope I said that right. If you're driving to the Isle of Skye, you're gonna drive right by it. It's situated on a small tidal island at a point where 3 great sea locks meet.
I swear to God, that doesn't look real. It looks like paintings my mother used to have. It probably still does have, actually. That, I mean, it just doesn't look real. It's so cool. And obviously, part of this has been redone or added onto or whatever, but maybe that's a restaurant or something. So cool. Yep, gotta go.
So the castle was built in the 13th century. I'm really mad at myself because I didn't stop here. When I first drove by it and it was good weather, I just didn't even know it existed. And then the second time I drove by it, it was just pouring rain. So I just couldn't even go to the castle. It's definitely one of the biggest regrets I have.
How do you build something 1,000 years ago? I know, one stone at a time. Seriously. 1,000 years ago. I don't even feel like going to the grocery store. I mean, I get my groceries delivered. How do you just get a couple hundred guys together and go, hey, we're going to build a castle? No, we don't have computers. No, we don't have power tools. Or gas-powered anything. Or steam-powered anything. Or electric cranes. No, we don't have anything. Oh, we can't work at night because we don't have lights. No. We're going to work the hottest time during the day without any power equipment. No real knowledge of electrolytes or anything else. Some of you are going to die. But we're going to build a castle that some fat guy in America can talk about 1,000 years from now. I mean, I'm not kidding. I've done like 100 videos, and I still need to do a video on actual old time construction because I can't wrap my head around it. You know, you make it a little, 100 square meter house, single story with a thatch roof or whatever. Yeah, that's cool. But you start building 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 story castles that are made out of limestone and block and whatever else they're making them out of, and they're still standing 1,000 years later. It's just incredible. I mean, it's incredible. My wife will look at this castle and she'll go, oh, that's really pretty. I look at it, I'm just, how did they do this? How did they do that? How does this work? How did that work? Now, if Taylor Swift played there, my wife could tell you every single thing about it. Oh, I hope she doesn't see this video. I'll be in trouble. Actually, your cousin just went to Scotland to see Taylor Swift. That's funny. I even thought of that. And to play golf. It's mind-blowing. It literally blows my mind.
Of it in Scotland. So definitely don't make my mistake and make sure you make a pit stop at one of Scotland's most famous castles. All right, so after the castle,
And how did they know? How did they know? Look how close that is to the water. How did they know that that land was stable enough, strong enough, dense enough to support all of the weight when they built that? How did they know about erosion and I mean, how did they know that thing wasn't going to be underwater in 3 years? I've been to a lot of high-end homes in America. As, the business that I'm in. And I've seen multi-million-dollar homes that had water like up to the house because the survey wasn't done correctly or whatever. In today's world, in today's time, because the lakes rose so much that it literally just came on the property all the way up to the, to the garage, to the house. That's in a multi-million-dollar home. How did these guys know 1,000 years ago that they could build a castle that weighed God knows how many tons, and then it wouldn't just shear off the side? It almost looks like it's leaning from this picture. It's probably just the lens distortion of the camera, but it almost looks like it's leaning towards the water, towards the right. It's crazy. And don't tell me they drove pillars down into the ground and all of that, all the way like to bedrock, because then I'll just completely lose my mind. But if you know, let me know.
Make the short drive over to the nearby Coolin Mountains. Now, the Coolin Mountains are this very unique mountain range located on the Isle of Skye. When I was there, I went to the Sligashan Bridge, which is at the base of the Coolin Mountains. The Sligashan Bridge is just super famous and scenic. When I was there, I didn't get many shots of the bridge because there was a lot of people on them. But I did get some beautiful shots of the mountains. They had such a unique shape. I love the contrast of the green peaks against the blue sky backdrop. I mean, it was just such a stunning location. Another enchanting location in the Coolin Mountains is the Fairy Pools. Now, the Fairy Pools is just a short 30-minute drive from the Sligashan. The fairy tales, they're just located at the base of a dramatic black Coolin Mountains. I was just blown away by the vibrant green slopes and the dark mountain in the background. It was just pitch black. I felt like Gandalf was going to run down with a massive horse army, like in the Two Towers Lord of the Rings movie. It was just so epic. When I was there were so many midges, which are like these annoying gnat-like bugs that bite. I mean, they're just horrible. I didn't have any bug spray, so I didn't dare walk down to the pools. I mean, I wish I would have gone. I mean, those pools.
All right, there's no way that's real. Now, if you know, let me know. Okay, I get it. You want to make your country as beautiful as possible. I understand that completely. But that is a high level of saturation in this picture. So tell me how close to reality this really is, as far as depth of color and contrast and that kind of thing. Does it really look like this in person? Or is this a little bit more of a dramatic effect? Because that's unreal. I mean, obviously the shutter speed's slow. That's why the water looks like that. But I'm just talking the waterfalls. But I'm just talking about the colors and the contrast. That's crazy. I mean, that looks like a wallpaper, for your computer.
Those are just such an iconic sight. The water is so magical and so clear. So that's another one of my regrets when I went to Scotland. So make sure you either bring bug spray or go in a different time than August. That's when I was there. So after the fairy pools, we're going to head over to another mythical location, to the Fairy Glen. Now, the Fairy Glen is a very popular destination in the Isle of Skye. To get there, you're going to drive on this really small, sketchy road to get there. Find a little parking spot, and then you just make like the short 5-minute hike to the Fairy Glen. Now, what it's famous for is it has these rings of rocks, and people often put some money in the center as an offering to the fairies. When I was there, I found this really cool rock formation that I hiked to so I could get a better view of those rings, and I also got some really cool views of the area. I mean, the grass is just so green there. I mean, it was such a cool place. I felt like a kid walking around those green hills, keeping my eyes open to see if I could see any mythical creatures or any fairies. It'll put you in a magical mindset. All right, so after the Fairy Glen, we're going to head over to the Duncansby Stacks. Hope I said that right. Anyways, it's located in the most northern eastern part of the British mainland, just right at the tip there. It's quite the drive from Edinburgh, so it's quite the road trip. It's home to some of the world's most beautiful ski stacks, Unfortunately, when I was in Scotland, I didn't have enough time to drive up there, but when I'm back, I'm going to make sure I visit the dramatic landscape. I just can't get over how epic the sea pinnacles are. Just such an insane location. Alright, so after the sea stacks, we're going to head over to the Bedian Nam Bian mountain. Probably said that wrong, but anyways, I found this place by accident. I was driving from the Isle of Skye down to Glasgow, and I stumbled upon this magic location. I mean, I couldn't believe how huge these mountains were. I felt like I was in Switzerland or Norway. I mean, I didn't even know Scotland had just big mountains. I thought it was pretty flat. The Bedian Nam Bian is 3,770 feet high, so it's just huge. I mean, there's a scenic waterfall, and the valley was just beautiful. There was some sheep grazing. If you keep driving towards Glasgow, you'll pass some more massive mountains, such as this one. And then if you keep going, you will drive by Loch Lomond, which is just another massive lake. This is why I love driving in Scotland. There's just so many beautiful occasions that you just stumble upon accidentally. Alright, so for our final location, we're going to head back over to the Isle of Skye to the Quiraing Mountains. Now, aside from the Old Manor Store, I'd have to say the Quiraing is one of my favorite places and landscapes in Scotland. It's a set of dramatic rock formations located on the side of a mountain. Quiraing was formed by a landslide long time ago. The grass is so green there, I felt like I'm like on a giant golf course. Anyways, to get there, I drove up this windy road. Be careful because I popped my tire because the road is super bumpy. Anyways, I got to the parking lot and I started the trek to the Quiraing. Now, it was a super easy hike. It only took me like 30 minutes. There's no elevation gain. On the hike, I came across some sheep that were just vibing. I also saw some really cool rock fields, and then I was just surrounded by just these magical mountains. They just have this really unique shape that I've never seen before. There's little lakes, and then you have the view of the ocean. It's just
Look at him.
a unique place.
He's out of his
When I was there, I
mind.
was lucky enough to have sunny weather. A lot of people I've talked to said when they've gone, it's just been so cloudy they couldn't even see anything. So I feel pretty fortunate about that. The Quiraing is just such a beautiful area that offers great hiking trails and just some of the world's most outstanding views. Alright, so that is it for my Scotland video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Scotland is just one of the world's most magical and beautiful places. There's a lot of locations that I left out, so much more to explore than just my video, but I hope this helps and hope it inspires you to visit somewhere new this year.
Wow, what a beautiful place. Now, obviously, I got to do some videos on more of the, the city aspect. Ryan tends to focus on landscapes and, natural beauty and hiking and camping and all that. Just beautiful. So let me know down in the comment section there the 5 places you would go if you were going to take your best friend who's in the country for one and only time. You obviously met him outside of the country because he's never been to Scotland before. 5 places you're going to take him. Check out my other videos because I'm going to probably immediately do another one or maybe 2 on Scotland so that I can get a little bit more of the city life, kind of figure all that out. Beautiful place. Definitely going. Makes me a little inspired to start checking out my my roots, my family tree, that kind of thing. So, if you're new to my channel, it's anything and everything that interests me as an average middle-aged American. That includes international travel. Wife and I plan on doing a lot of international traveling as we gear up for retirement, semi-retired, going into retirement, that kind of thing. We're going to start off in the UK, England, Scotland, probably Wales, Ireland. Then we're going to probably branch into France, Germany. Maybe that's part of phase 1. I don't know. That's kind of where we're starting. Italy. May do a cruise. May not. Got a lot of beat down about taking a cruise to Italy. Such an American thing to do, I think was my favorite quote. Anyway, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It doesn't cost you anything. Helps me a lot. Thumbs up always helps. Give me your comments, good or bad. Keep it civil. I don't tolerate name calling very much. Ask the few people who are not here anymore. And let's get that subscriber count up to 1,000. It's a good goal. It's achievable. We're on our way. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.